Hey, it's David with No Chaser. And what I'm going to talk about today is kind of this idea, I don't know, pattern of thought that occurs in me, and I would say a lot of other addicts and alcoholics as well, too. And it's something that kind of comes on when you're getting sober and you're trying to stay clean and trying to do all that good stuff. And it's just this sense of once you start embracing life without chemicals and without getting drunk or high, there's a sense of, "Ugh, is this all there really is? Just this life of normal things and working and doing the same stuff over and having these patterns and having healthy behaviors and doing proactive stuff and therapy and coping. Is life just coping? Is it not even about enjoyment anymore? Is it just coping?" And I say that in this sense, not just to be like super Debbie Downer here or a curmudgeon. I try to be honest about like the thought process and the things that go on in the mind of either someone that's addicted or someone trying to get sober or clean or someone trying to stay sober and clean. I mean, the most I want you to take away from this show or video series or diary of a crazy person, whatever you want to call this, is that I just hope it's a window into the mind of what's going on in so many people's heads that people don't understand. And even the people experiencing themselves don't understand. I still don't really I have awareness of a lot of stuff that goes on in my mind, but it's always quite a mystery, a very fun, frustrating, bewildering mystery. But I have the sense that, and it comes on a lot too. Sometimes life can be going well, but I just this kind of empty feeling of man, is this all there really is? And the reason I kind of bring up this idea is because when addicts and alcoholics, they talk about their life a lot, and the patterns of behavior that they've displayed and the things they've done and all the guilt and the shame. There's kind of this waving away of there was no reason to do any of this stuff. It was just stupid. I drank and then I just got addicted, and I was just no reason. It was just a random goof that destroyed my life. And I'm not saying this in any sense to this to be a defense or justification or a rationalization for all the bad stuff you did in your past, or for if you're still struggling with drinking and using. This isn't just something that you can use as a get out of jail free card. But there's this wiping away effect that occurs where it's just you toss out all the reasons why this whole affliction started in the first place. And I know it can start for just a myriad of reasons of people using it to cope earlier in their life and them getting hooked, or people that, had some sort of mental illness, or just some people, there was a lifestyle that they got ingratiated with. And it just, the chemicals, and if your brain is susceptible to it, it just hijacks the mind. With that being said, even in times of getting sober and that feeling of it is all is this all life really is? And what I truly feel down in my core is what it comes down to is this sense of is addiction really that stupid? I don't mean not destructive or, bad for a person or anything like that, but is it really that stupid in this sense? And just bear with me on this, because, I've heard people just normal people or whatever, they talk about times where they got drunk or times when they got injured or were in the hospital and they got shot up with morphine, and they talk about it was awesome, dude. Oh man, I love morphine. Or dude, getting drunk was so fun. And one of the thing is in my brain, I just go, well, yeah. I mean, don't you want to do that more? A lot? Wouldn't you want to do that all the time? You're my friend, and I've talked with you throughout the years, and some of the best times you talk about is getting drunk or high. Why do they have to be so far apart? Why wouldn't you want to do that all the time? And that's kind of the sense that I'm getting at, where the obvious answer is well, no, you can't do that because you have responsibilities, and there's hangover and negative effects that come with it. And of course, that's the reasonable response. But just think in the mind of of a person, to where there's a sort of cheat code for life, or what I call is the magic trick, where there's just this thing that is in a bottle or in a powder or a thing that you just put in your body, and it changes your mood. Just like that. Like it has this sort of like weird comforting guarantee to it just because it's on like a chemical basis or it just changes your mood. Because I think about my life and the times when I wasn't drinking or using, and there's so many times where there was things I was looking forward to, whether it was going to be goals I was going to hit or things like vacations or milestones or things that I thought was going to make me happier, content, and didn't. That was always such a disappointment and so discouraging in my life, where it was just like these expectations I had on things to that were going to bring enjoyment or fulfillment or meaning or all this stuff. And just so many times they don't work out, or they're way less than what I expected, or, you get your hopes up and just, there's so many times where that happens. And by the way, you go through a lot of struggle and stress to just get to those things. So it's like extra like hurtful when you've done all this stuff, you achieve the thing, or you finally get the break or the vacation or the relationship you're looking for, or all whatever, the car, you finally get that. And it's just not enough, or it's not what you expected. I mean, just, I don't know. I know plenty of people that have been plagued with that sort of pattern in their life. But then you have this other thing. You have a thing that is, whether it be a liquid or a plant or a powder or whatever, that you put it in your body, it alters your mood, it brings you enjoyment, and there's no other strings attached. I mean, there is, but just run with me on this. There's no strings attached in that moment, and it just works, and it works every time. And I know, like, as far as like drinking and addiction goes, that you have a higher tolerance, and the effect that it produces as far as like enjoyment isn't quite the same, but it's still pretty consistent. And you just have this thing in your life where you go, you know what? I know what this is going to bring me every time I do it. I don't know about life. I don't know about all that crap out there. I don't know about people. I can't control them. They rarely do what I want them to do. I rarely am able to do what I want to do. And I just, there's so many things that I thought was going to better my life or make me happy, and it didn't. But here's this thing that I just do it, and it just works, man. Every single time it does the thing. And just, where else do you just feel, you talk about like trying to do things like meditation or exercise or going out into the woods or doing some sort of like diamond art or sewing, or you try to do these things that like help you relieve anxiety or help you relax or de-stress. And sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, but there is something that just does it, and it's acute. It does it immediately. And again, this is not trying to be like a promotional video for doing drugs and alcohol. What I'm really getting at is that just think of that sense of how, like, is it that big of a mystery, like why people would gravitate to that so much? Like, I think about myself, and, when I was younger, even before I started drinking or doing drugs or anything, at a young age, I struggled with depression. And my life, as far as like the things externally or things around me, environment, wasn't too bad at all, but internally things were not great. And I remember like those times getting drunk and high, and it was not even this sense of enjoyment, but it gave me the sense of control. Like that was like, usually I don't think of it that much as like, in fact, you think of drinking and getting high as like ways of getting out of control. But it was this sense of control because, again, that dependency, that I could depend on it because I pour this thing in my body, and I want this feeling, and I know it will bring it. And man, just about every single time it does. In fact, the only thing that kills my buzz or ruins it is these outside things. If something else goes wrong, or somebody's mad, or the girlfriend or boyfriend's mad, or husband, wife's mad, or the kids, or like whatever, like it's all them. But this thing has never failed me. And, maybe it doesn't work as good as it used to, but man, where else do you find that in life? Where else do you find a thing that just bam, every single time will do what you expect it to do? Because even if it isn't like super enjoyable at a certain point, it's still there's that comfort in the familiarity that it does what it's supposed to do. And, I think about this, and again, it's kind of weird when I talk about me being enraptured with the affliction of drinking and all the bad things I did, and the kind of the way it's this perfect vicious cycle of getting you to do it because it makes you feel terrible, and then when you feel terrible, you lose hope, and it's just this perfect kind of mechanism to make you continue doing it, and the way it hijacks your brains and all that type of stuff. But even before any of that occurred, there was something that like beyond just like it's super fun to get drunk or high. There's something even beyond that, almost on like an existential level, that was so attractive about being able to drink and use. Something about the singleness of purpose where I could live my life and it's just like, man, if I just find my way to get drunk or high, then the rest is golden. I mean, it's really not, but it feels like if I could just get that, then the rest of the day will be okay because I have my thing. And this thing I can lean on, and I don't even inflation doesn't seem to like hurt the prices of it. Like it's there. Now, obviously, there's many things that come with that. There's the things you do when you're drunk or high, or especially with drugs, the problems you can get in legally, or I mean, just with possession with drugs, drinking, tons of other things that can happen. To be honest, I got in way less like trouble when I was using opiates than when I was drinking. But like that, with all that being said, I just, I don't know. I thought I would go on this rant because it's been something on my mind where it's like, I don't want to defend any bad behaviors, but I just wish people, maybe they do on some level, but that they know like what a perfect kind of mousetrap that this thing is for many people that struggle to find happiness. And again, this is also pushing on to the point of like why people return back to it when just life seems so unfulfilling and you've had to like work hard to get to this spot, and then you finally got to the mountain and the view wasn't as good as you thought it was going to be, and just there's always that thing calling. Because, and for me, what I really struggle with is not even just the feeling of getting high and the kind of the good warmth and all that type of stuff, or the getting drunk and all that, those feelings that come with it. It's not even that. It's just like that thing I could just depend on, and like I don't have to count on life anymore to make me feel a certain way. I get to control things now because I have this thing that does this magic trick. And of course, this is like being sober is this process of trying to unlearn that, trying to be okay with the present moment, trying to be okay with I don't want to say depending on life to make me happy, but being okay to take what comes to me and just trying to make do with whatever comes to me, not to have expectations on things to make me happy or to provide fulfillment or anything like that. That's like the whole kind of like psychic change that has to take place. And that's kind of the mental maturity I have to go through to be okay with this life. But man, especially at some times, especially in lulls in your life where kind of like things are going downhill or just you're in a funk, man, does that guarantee of that chemical seem really, really tempting. But again, I hope I didn't have to preface it too much. It is disastrous, and if something seems too good to be true, it is. And I mean, do I really have to say, if you're watching this, why you shouldn't drink or do drugs addictively? And if you want to take the message, then yes, that is the message I'm saying. Don't do drugs or drink addictively. I mean, I don't know. Anyways, those are my thoughts. I hope that resonates with some people, or it brings you some understanding to the way kind of the mind works, or at least mine does. I don't know, but hope you guys are out there doing well. Things are going good. If they're not, I hope you're staying strong, going through it. I wish you guys all the best. Like, subscribe. I don't know. Sign up for a Patreon for someone you like. Not me. I don't have one because I know my deal. But all right. Be well.